Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Multipurpose with Lakshit. Today I have Jason. So, Jason is a chef. So, hi, Jason. It's my pleasure to have you. It's wonderful having you. Thank you very much for joining in.
Hey Lakshit, hi, how are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you very much. So just first coming to the first question, if you can speak about yourself and what you do.
So Lakshit, as you said, my name is Jason. I am a chef by profession. I started my career in the year 2003. I
Okay.
passed out from IHM Goa. I worked with Taj as a management trainee. I worked with seven Tajes. From there, I went on to London. I studied at Le Cordon Bleu at London.
Okay.
I worked as a sous chef for Gordon Ramsay for nearly 4 years. I worked for Alan Ducasse as a chef de cuisine for another 3 years.
Okay.
Came back to India, was an F&B director for a five-hotel in Bombay.
Mm-hmm.
Decided that at a very young age, I've done it all. So I decided to move and get into the restauranting business, where I opened my own restaurant, which was a molecular fine dining restaurant called White Plate.
Mm-hmm.
After that, after experiencing practically everything in every field in the hotel industry, in every kitchen, be it complex, be it simple, I
Mm-hmm.
decided to venture into health. So when everyone turned around to me and told me, you're going into health, you're committing professional suicide. You're at the peak of your career and you're going straight into health, and healthy food is not easy. And everybody has that preconceived notion that healthy food is not tasty.
Mm-hmm.
So then I said, after completing nearly 15 years in the industry, if I put 2 years into health, it's not going to actually affect me so much.
Yeah.
However, the learning would be exponential. So what I did was I ventured into the unknown, and I'll tell you, I can actually put my entire career into one bucket, and I started from scratch. So trying to get healthy food tasty. So if you want to eat a dal makhani, how do we get you to eat a dal makhani that is healthy? It's not overloaded with saturated fats. It's not overloaded with any ghee or butter, yet it has the same taste profile, requires about 9 to 10 hours of thinking, deep thinking, understanding food, and creating those products. So I always believe that a chef is a quite a neurotic scientist, because at the end of the day, when you cook food, right, it's a reaction, it's cause
Yeah.
and reaction. So it is a chemical reaction, it's cause and reaction. So understanding flavors, understanding how to pair flavors, understanding how to create something unique. So while a dal makhani has been made and created, and now what we cook is we're just cooking stuff that has been created by somebody who's gone out of the unknown and actually created something. It's now
Yeah.
time to create things that someday in life will go down to being classics, right?
Yeah. Okay, great. Yeah, thank you for a wonderful introduction. So the question arises here: so like, how did you find, like, what did make you realize that cooking is the thing which I want to do in my life?
So, honestly, Lakshat, it was very easy for me. So, as a child, I used to leave my toys and get straight into my mother's kitchen and actually play around with the cooker.
Okay.
And the whistle that, or the weight that is on the cooker, used to be my top one toy that I wanted as a child. And when I'm talking as a child, I'm talking about like 2 or 3 years old. In
Okay.
fact, if they ever hit the whistle for me, I used to create ruckus with my sisters, because I just wanted that. So the family always knew that I would either be a chef,
Okay.
and being the youngest of three siblings, I was a great fighter. So they always thought I would either be a chef or a lawyer.
Okay.
However, I applied for both the entrance exam. I did the hotel management entrance exam. I did the law entrance exam. And this is really a twist of fate, because while I was waiting for the law entrance letter to come through,
Mm-hmm.
it was the last day to pay my fees for the hotel management. And my mother said, let's just get going. Otherwise, you'll neither have this nor that. And we paid the fees. We came back home, and the law letter was in the letterbox.
Okay.
So had I waited for 3 hours, I would have been a lawyer, because I always wanted to be either a chef or a criminal lawyer.
Okay.
So what I did basically is I took an ardent hobby and I converted it into a great career.
Hmm.
So, especially when you're a chef and you want to, you you have that kind of skill and passion that actually drives you.
Uh-huh.
If you don't have it inbuilt in you and you don't have that kind of being a perfectionist and wanting things to be just right every time, you're never ever going to survive, because this industry is such a cutthroat industry that it is always survival of the fittest. So only if you have the passion, only if you have the love that you put in, that yields you results. Otherwise, you're just one of the mill.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I'll tell you, as a sous chef, I used to work 16 hours. As an F&B director, I used to work 18 hours a day. And even today, I am still learning. With having 17 years in the industry, I am still learning. And, being a chef is very close to being a doctor or a medical personnel, because food is so vast and the knowledge that you can gain is so exponential that I think till the day I pass on, I will need to learn to actually improvise and get better and become who I
Yeah.
am.
Yeah, yeah. And in the coming in those years, like you said you have been in the food industry for 17 years. So like from these years, like what has been a transition continuous? I think there has been a wonderful transition in the food industry continuously. So like what are your thoughts on this, and how did it had keep on changing?
So I'll tell you, it has become very easy now, is what I can say. So
Okay.
I would say not only me, but those who passed out till the year 2003, 2004, 2005
Mhm.
had it difficult. Right now, if you want to research something, you have it at the click of a button.
Yeah.
Our time, we had to actually sit in the library, and I was quite notorious, not really the ace student. I was quite the naughty one. So even the librarian used to always push me off, because I had a short attention span of, I couldn't sit and research for more than 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And in spite of all those odds, going through researching, picking up books, finding books, trying to source, we never had anything that easy or the click of a button. However, because Lakshit, we experience that, we value this so much more, because this is so much more easier. And to some extent, I really, the tip that I could give the younger generation is that you have it easy. Make the best of it, because if I had things at the click of a button
Yeah.
at that time, imagine the amount of time I would have saved
True.
going hunting for books, researching, honing your skills, getting the better of your skills,
Yeah.
trying to learn new styles, new techniques,
Mhm.
all that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. 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 Wonderful.
And the industry is, while this industry is a very person specific, because it's a service, right?
Yeah.
So it's very people specific, and while you may have automation happening in various aspects, you still need some kind of human touch to actually make food what it is, right?
Yeah.
While either at the start, either through the entire cooking process, or at the last mile, you always need that kind of intervention to check, because food per se is so versatile that anything could go wrong. And while automation does play a key role, it's always required to have that kind of personal touch right at the end.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Great. And coming to the food industry thing, like what are the good and the bad things about the industry, like as per you?
So while I firmly believe that the food industry has evolved, in fact, it has evolved so much that I'm not talking about just food, I'm talking about even from customer point of view. It
Mhm.
has evolved. The customer is so well traveled now that they are readily available and readily inclined to actually try out new cuisines, try out new styles, merging of two cuisines, trying out two different techniques, getting into the health domain. Right? If I talk about when I joined CureFit, that is 2.5, 3 years back, health was there, but it was not at the forefront that it is today. So I'm talking about not the last 17 years, but even in 3 years, health has progressed so phenomenally that today one in third person makes some conscious effort of being healthy. Everybody wants to have a healthier option, and binging is just towards the weekend. So that's the great thing about the industry. Another thing is, with food being so versatile, any dish can be tweaked, any recipe can be tweaked with just a minor change of 2 or more ingredients and create a healthy version of that. So that's another aspect. However, I feel what are the negative aspects is everything is too readily available now.
Okay.
So that thing of cooking at home and exploring food at home is slowly going off.
Mm-hmm.
And while, okay, I would say being a chef, and I'm sure you must have seen via Instagram, I do a lot of cooking at home.
Yeah.
So for me, that's a very crucial engagement with the entire family. We actually have cuisines over lunch or dinner that are bordered over a region, and we actually talk about that region. So it's a sharing of ideas while having a meal.
Mm-hmm.
That
Okay.
is some aspect that I feel is lacking. And also another thing is, I think now with people being more cautious because of the pandemic, hygiene is playing a very important role, which is
Yeah.
something that was lacking all along.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. And coming to the money in the business part, like how does really the money in the business model works in the food industry?
So are you talking about labor intensive and the pay scales?
Yeah, yes, a bit of that, but like how does coming? You said you own a hotel, so how does the business model works? Like what things do
So
you?
basically, I'll tell you, when we had opened up our restaurant, it the turnover is extremely low,
Yeah.
because for you to even break even at a restaurant, it will take you nowhere close to 2.5 to 3 years.
Mhm.
And for the first 6 to 8 months after you've designed everything, you're just pumping in resources,
Okay.
hoping for it to be a hit.
Mhm.
However, most people forget that marketing plays such a crucial role, because with today you being on social media is a key to actually sustenance, not even like a next level. It's one of the basics for you to just sustain,
Mhm.
because people need to know that you're there. Otherwise, word of mouth, while word of mouth has played a very key role in the past, it's a very long process
Mhm.
and a very time consuming and financial process. Whereas being on social media, you're opening up your doors to a wider audience,
Yeah.
helping you actually break even faster.
Okay. Okay. Wonderful. And how is the like how has been the food industry affected by the pandemic going all around the world?
So, well, like any other industry, it has been affected to a time. But with things opening up, and with this now being the new normal, so I always tell it even to my team and even to people who I acquaint with, is this is the new normal. So what you saw, what you lived, and what you experienced about 8 months back is over.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is the new normal, where hygiene plays an important role, it plays an integral part, and everyone has to watch out for themselves.
Yeah.
So while everything is opening up and people are getting a little lax, my only advice to them is that things are opening up. The pandemic is not gone as yet.
Yeah.
You need to be a little more cautious, you need to be a little more hygienic. And with companies opening up now, air travel is going to start. With air travel starting, people, this is going to open up. And I'm curious to see how this is going to play out for the hotel industry predominantly, because while maintaining social distancing, there are restaurants which earlier used to be jam packed, it's now going to come down to one-fourth its size. So
Yeah.
how are they going to evolve? Are they going to give a lot of DIY kits? Is home delivery going to play an integral part for hotels, for restaurants, to actually sustain? While dining in restaurants, if they are not hygienic, if they are not maintaining their hygiene norms, and not putting it out there on social media, where I would say, okay, it is safe to dine at XYZ because that place is maintaining its hygienic norms, you know? So that is going to play an integral part, but everything is going to come back to normal, with
Yeah.
this being the new normal.
New normal. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So as you said, you are in, like people said you that Yeah, and when you decided, like, this, you're killing your career, being into going into health, the cooking, health, being an health chef.
So
So yeah,
yeah.
please go on, please go on.
So I'll tell you, after having 15 years in the industry, and I had become a executive chef at a very young age. I became an executive chef at the age of 25, 26, one of the youngest in the countries. That's when I had taken a break and I decided to study further in London. And I took a step down where I became a sous chef because it's my career, right?
Mhm.
So I decide how I take it, how I charter it, how I excel at it. Because
Okay.
at the end of the day, while I offer my skills to the company, it's also about me fine tuning, honing my skills, and becoming a little better version of what I was yesterday, right?
Yeah.
So with having 15 years in the industry and going right from fine dining to banqueting to buffets to coffee shop to European cuisines to merging of flavors at Cordon Bleu to actually fine dining to going into molecular gastronomy, I had done it all. So I
Okay.
had done everything at a very young age, and I didn't want to just be an executive chef that sat in an office and became complacent, right? So
Yeah.
what, because I firmly believe that while we are chefs and while we have the gift of the gab and while we talk really well and we can explain things well, at the end of the day, so you're only as good as your hands
Mhm.
because that's where your skill matters, right?
Yeah.
So I said the only thing that I've not ventured into was health. And you won't believe it, having got into health, I never once doubted my decision. And I I'm so amazed that at with having 17 years in the industry, I get a chance to start afresh,
Mhm.
learn things new,
Okay.
and hone the overall bucket that I've created being me.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Yeah. Wonderful. So the what like how what like how why does health plays like why does food plays an important role in health?
So always remember that what you put in your body reflects on how you carry on with your life, and it takes away a lot of your this thing, right? So when you eat healthy, I'm not saying do not binge, do not eat junk food, but I'm saying eat healthy because it's your body, it's your temple. What you put in is what's going to yield results. Maybe not today, maybe not 5 years down the line, but definitely it's going to yield results because you're going to actually make the better version of yourself
Yeah.
healthy. You know what you're putting in. You're actually in total control of what nutrients you're putting into body. It's
Mhm.
not just because you're hungry, so you pick anything and you just gorge on it because you don't know what nutrients are you putting in your body. So when you become mindful and when you start eating healthy, you start looking at various micronutrients that are so essential for your body,
Okay.
which you will make a conscious effort to have items that actually help you with that.
Okay. 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 Yeah. So like, what are the kind of cuisines? Like, what kind of diet? What do you say that? Like we have vegetarians, non-vegetarians, vegetarians, vegan. So what kind of these Italians kind of thing we have? Like diets we have in the human thing, which is the most healthiest as per you?
So, well, I would not say, I would say no diet per se alone can be healthy because everything has its pros, everything has its cons, everything has certain kind of this thing on your body. I'm just saying eat a balanced meal, eat healthy,
Okay.
look at what you're eating, be mindful of what you're eating,
Okay.
eat in smaller quantities, eat in smaller quantities. We tend to eat a lot,
Mm-hmm.
eat in smaller quantities. Now I, in fact, you won't believe it, I actually strongly follow intermittent fasting,
Okay.
and it works wonders for me because as a chef it is predominant that you go and you go about tasting, not realizing that you're actually putting in a lot of junk into your body because you have to taste. It's one of the quintessentials of your job, right?
Yeah.
And so intermittent fasting plays an important role in that because what really happens over there is I make a conscious effort to fast anywhere between 12 to 14 hours
Yeah.
every day. I have a raw meal a day, so my breakfast is usually just a humongous bowl of fruits. I ensure that I have the right kind of electrolytes electrolytes with my coconut, that's tender coconut. I ensure that I have good fats in my body, that is the malai of the tender coconut. And I take the day as it comes, because that is what actually prevents so many things. It helps in basically your skin tone, it helps in the quality of your hair, it helps in how you handle yourself, it helps in, it reverses aging, it does so many things to your body, which is so great.
Okay, okay. And coming to this, every like a lot of people are trying veganism. Everybody, a lot of people are going into veganism. So, what are your thoughts on that as being a chef?
So, well, veganism is a very tricky topic to talk about because it has an emotional quotient and it has food per se. But I say it has a very high level of discipline. And that is something that I always salute in vegans, because they have a very high level of discipline. And not only in their food, in also their lifestyle. So I know of vegans who do not even wear leather shoes,
Yeah, yeah,
you know? So I applaud more the discipline that goes into that lifestyle. And I have a very few friends that are vegans, and it's a constant learning. I learn so much from them, because if you actually get into understanding the fundamentals behind cooking veganism, you're not going to really miss out on certain things. However, certain crucial vitamins that are required for the body should always be taken as supplements to actually balance it out.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. And would you like just a tricky question? So, would you like as being a chef? Would you try going vegan? Like, would you go? I think it's not you would not, because you have to try new things and do new things. But just a tricky question.
So, so Lakshit, to be honest with you, I come from a family that's hardcore non-vegetarian,
Okay.
and I have just started introducing them to eating healthy,
Uh-huh.
which is a tricky in itself part. So I would say veganism is eon years away for this family, but yeah. So now we're taking it each step as it comes, So I'm getting them to eat healthy. I'm actually showing them the ways and means of eating healthy. I'm teaching them that the unusual dishes which are so overladen with spice can also taste good in the healthier version if
Yeah.
cooked and use the right cooking methods. So right now we are in that phase in our life, but I have tried veganism for a while. I've enjoyed it, and I've enjoyed the boons that it's had to my body. However, as a chef, I'm limiting my learning, I'm limiting my skill set, I would be limiting a lot of other things if I am a wholehearted vegan chef. But I always keep that as one aspect of my entire cooking. And it's very evident in my Instagram channel. If you can see, I have at least 40% of vegan dishes on my this thing, which are healthy,
Mhm.
yet I do not call them out as vegan, because why put a tag to it?
Yeah. True. True. Yeah. And
Right? Why
and
do you need
I
to put a tag to it?
yeah, true. And I agree also, as we are Indians, like people who are vegetarians are already like almost a lot they are vegan, because not every dish, default every doesn't not every dish has any dairy or any kind of thing. So I think it's okay. It's an off point thing.
And to be honest with you, Indian cuisine predominantly is vegetarian based, and if
Yeah,
you just
yeah.
do a few tweaks here and there, you
Mhm.
can actually convert that entire cuisine into a veganism, for the simple fact that if you're making like a paneer makhni or something like that, you omit the cream, you omit the butter, you add some nut base which gives you the fat content, you add
Yeah,
cashew nuts,
yeah,
you omit the paneer and you add tofu, and it creates the same result.
yeah. True. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree. I agree with you. Yeah. So what has been your major failures in the working as a chef? What has been your major learnings and failures?
So major learnings is that, so for me as a person, I can't be ideal or be complacent. So for me as a chef, I've got the perfect career that always keeps me on my toes. My thirst for knowledge is so high that I'm constantly researching, I'm constantly evolving. I
Okay.
have my own library of books at home, which I enjoy going back to reading, because what really happens is what you read today, what you pick up that book about a month later or even a year later, the knowledge that you get out of that is totally different. So I
Yeah.
enjoy doing that. What is my biggest failure? Well, I would not call it failure. I would say the balance between my professional life and personal life.
Okay.
Because when you're a chef, if you're working 16 hours a day, all you ever need to do is come back home, have a good shower, and head for the bedroom, right?
Yeah.
So that was in the initial phases of my career, right up till about 2 3 years back. But now I'm actually finding a perfect blend between my personal and professional life.
Okay. Wonderful. And what would be your advice to anybody who wants to become a chef?
If you're doing it for the fame, don't do it. If you have passion, if you have love for cooking, if you understand the intricacies of cooking, and if you have cooking in your heart,
Mhm.
go for it, because the fame will follow. I know a lot of young chefs who actually send me messages saying that we want to be as well known or as renowned as you. And I'm like, why? Why would you want to do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hone your skills, because at the end of the, and they are young, they're still in college, they're like in the second year or the third year, and I keep telling them, hone your skills, because once you have that,
Hmm.
you've built your foundation, you've built your platform, which
Yeah.
is going to actually help you skyrocket your career. And fame will come. In fact, when it comes, you may not really want it, but it will come. So that's exactly what I keep telling everybody.
Okay, great. So yeah, it almost brings us at an end, kind of end. I have just last five quick questions for you. So, what has been your best advice you ever received from someone?
Never give up. There are times in the kitchen that you may want to give up, because see, you have to understand that you're working amid sweat, amid grid, amid heat, and you're
Okay.
working for 12 hours. So the air is so laden with tension that you're working amid all those characteristics,
Hmm.
and that becomes your day in day out lifestyle.
Yeah.
And you're like a hot pan which is ready to boil over.
Hmm.
Never give up.
Okay.
Take 2 steps back, reanalyze yourself,
Hmm.
break out, take a walk, calm down, come back in. The kitchen is quite a hot wired place.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And what has been your worst? Like, what has been your worst advice you ever received from someone?
Quit.
Okay. Wonderful.
Yeah,
What
so
would?
I'll tell you. I can tell you. I can tell you where also that was the advice I received. In fact, so after I finished my cordon bleu and I joined Gordon Ramsay, and I'm sure everybody knows who he is. Gordon Ramsay is, and I still remember I was a sous chef with him, and I put a pot of potatoes to boil, and I overboiled the potatoes, and he actually flung that pot at me, and then I told him, okay, I made a mistake. So he said, it's not a mistake. How can you overboil potatoes if you can't handle this, quit? And
Okay.
that was an eye opener. I think till the day I pass, I will never forget how to boil potatoes ever again in my life.
Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah. So, what would you advise to your 18-year-old self?
Stop running. The world is a beautiful place to live in. Take 2 steps and breathe and enjoy life as it comes.
Okay. So a kind of tricky question. I don't know if it's a tricky, but I feel it's a tricky question. How do you taste a food? Like, how do you taste a dish?
So I'll tell you, so I always believe you eat with your eyes.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm one of those very quirky chefs who seldom taste food. Being into fitness and trying to be slim, I seldom taste food because I always believe it's tasting is the last resort. It's the last retort. You
Hmm.
always eat with your eyes.
Okay.
You get the scent with your nose,
Yeah.
and then you taste. So if a dish is pleasing to the eye,
Yeah.
you inhale to get the vapors,
Uh-huh.
and 99.9% of the time your dish is spot on accurate. If you have a doubt, then you go and taste it.
Okay, wonderful.
And that too also tasting is you just take the spoon, dip it into the sauce,
Okay.
and just taste the edge of it to understand whether the seasoning or the flavors have come through really well together.
Okay. 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 Fine. Fine. The last question is, what kind of what kind of a message would you like to leave here to the audience watching here? What kind of you thought we would have talked about and we forgot about things, like you would join a point or add anything you think, so you can just do it now.
So, well, I always say that hard work pays.
Mhm.
Hard work always pays. And the quality of hard work that you put in. So, while just putting in hard work without gaining quality input or gaining something out of it
Okay.
is something that most people just work at. But then that defines you and that doesn't really make you who you are. So, always put in hard work, but always get quality out of it,
Okay.
because that's what will actually make you who you are.
Okay, great. So yeah, thank you very much for being here. It was my pleasure having you. A wonderful session. Totally a new topic. I've like never collaborated, like till now, never did not collab with a chef. So yeah, totally new topic. A wonderful, wonderful, session. Thank you very much for being here. It was a pleasure having you. Thank you very much.
I had a great time, Laksha. Thank you so much.